on Denver 7 News. Denver's air quality downgraded. As you head outside this weekend, the new announcement from the EPA and how it could affect what you pay at the pump. Only 2 days left for the world to pay its final respects to Queen Elizabeth II before she's laid to rest on Monday. The preparations underway for her funeral this weekend. And your Denver Broncos coming home tomorrow to take on the Houston Texans at Empower Field. From the players on the field to prices for fans in the stands and the food that's for sale, we've got a full preview of the first home game of the regular season. We're starting with breaking news from overnight. One person is in the hospital this morning with a serious injury after a Union Pacific train collided with a Platteville police car on the train tracks. This happened near Platteville around 8 last night. The officer and train crew were not injured and the train did not derail. But a suspect was in the officer's patrol car when the train hit. The officer was not in the vehicle at the time. The investigation's being turned over to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and we'll keep you updated throughout the day on air and online at denver7.com. Well, good Saturday morning to you. Welcome to Denver 7 News. I'm Jessica Crawford.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Thank you so much for joining us here this Saturday. We want to catch you up first on some of the top things happening this weekend.
The names of nearly 470 fallen firefighters will be added to the Firefighter Memorial in Colorado Springs this weekend. Volunteers expect 8,000 people, including firefighters from across the U.S. and Canada, to attend the ceremony. And this is the first time it's being held since the pandemic. So this is the first time the ceremony will include firefighters who died in the line of duty over the past 2 years. The ceremony starts at 10:30 this morning in Memorial Park.
The 8th Judicial District, which includes Larimer and Jackson counties along with the Fort Collins Municipal Court, is holding an event today to clear some Coloradans of any outstanding warrants for their arrest. You don't even have to go to the courthouse. This event is at the Old Town Library in Fort Collins from 9:30 until 2 p.m. There, people can clear warrants for some misdemeanors, traffic cases, drug charges, and some felonies.
With inflation and prices on everything going up, trying to keep growing kids in clothes and shoes is not easy, but there is a place that can help. The Just Between Friends sale runs through tomorrow at the Douglas County Fairgrounds with a record number of people selling items on consignment.
At 9:02, let's give you a live look outside. Partly cloudy skies and a really beautiful start to our morning here across the Front Range, and it's going to stay partly cloudy to mostly sunny throughout this afternoon. But look at that, Rocky Mountain National Park, that stuff on top of Longs Peak, that is a light dusting of snow from some showers overnight and early this morning. Temperatures, though, are warming up. We're in the 60s here across the I-25 corridor and Eastern Plains, getting to around 70 right now in Pueblo, and then up into the mountains, 40s to start your morning up. But we are seeing some 30s there over some higher terrain. Walk the dog forecast this morning will stay in the 60s until about 10 o'clock, and then by 11, 70 degrees, mid 70s right around lunchtime. So really pleasant conditions in terms of our daytime highs, topping out in the low 80s for the metro area, increasing cloud coverage into the high country with temperatures around 10,000 feet in the 60s, nearing 90 down across the southeastern plains today, and even warmer statewide tomorrow. Your full forecast coming up.
Whether you just moved here or if you've lived in Colorado your entire life, you've seen the smog surrounding the Mile High City. But now Denver and Colorado's Northern Front Range are being labeled severe violators of air quality standards by the EPA. This reclassification means stricter air quality regulations are coming to Centennial State. Denver 7's Christian Lopez reports on how this will impact your finances amid already record high inflation.
This means stricter regulations are coming for businesses and consumers to keep the air pollution levels down. It could also mean more expensive gas prices. And that is because the severe label would require drivers to use a special blend of gas that reduces harmful gas emissions. This would only be during the summer months when air quality tends to be at its worst. AAA predicts that this would increase gas prices by 20 to 30 cents per gallon when drivers start using this in summer of 2024. The state could try to get the EPA to grant an exception, but that is not guaranteed. Some of the things that the state plans to do to improve the air quality are finding and implementing new technology to control emissions. CDPHE also wants to create checkpoints to track the state's progress towards these goals. The state does have a long way to go. Some Coloradans are concerned because of all of the contributing factors.
I'm just worried because we have everything here. We have constructions, we had the I-70 highway, we have Purina, we have a lot of things going on that affect us.
Our current state implementation plan does include controls for a lot of different types of industrial facilities, particularly through what is known as our reasonably available control technology requirements.
If you'd like to know what you can do to help, you can go on our website, denver7.com. Reporting in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
The Arvada community coming together this week to honor fallen police officer Dylan Vakoff's life of service and sacrifice. Vakoff was shot and killed while responding to a call last Sunday. First responders and community members lined up along the procession route for his funeral yesterday to say their goodbyes. Officer Vakoff was an Air Force veteran and was proud to serve in the town that he grew up in. His fellow officers described him as the embodiment of what law enforcement should strive to be, selfless and caring. Vakoff was just 27 years old.
The period of public mourning is winding down as London prepares for Queen Elizabeth II's funeral on Monday. People are still waiting in lines as long as 24 hours in London to pay their respects before she is laid to rest. Today, the Queen's grandchildren are following their parents, honoring the Queen by standing vigil over her coffin. ABC's Inez de la Cuetara joins us from London with more.
As mourners continue to pay their respects, those hoping to see the Queen must first stand in a queue. The queue starts here, more than 5 miles from Westminster Hall, where the Queen is lying in state. The queue growing and growing, wait times reaching close to 22 hours, even as temperatures dropped. So many people coming out, the queue even had to be put on pause for 8 hours, prompting reports a new line had formed to join the queue, a very British phenomenon.
That's what we're all used to now. We just queue.
I guess we've just been always brought up with it, I think. It's something that you do in England. So, yeah,
we're used to it.
We just continue, basically.
Those who brave the long wait times are coming prepared, bringing snacks and water, hundreds of porta potties set up along the route.
And, I mean, a 14-hour queue, does that not scare you at all?
Not really. It doesn't. I'm prepared.
But the queue moves continuously. Mourners are not allowed to set up tents or chairs. The BBC reporting more than 430 people were treated for injuries, 40 hospitalized. A bit further down, Cyrus Moore has also been with the line for hours, checking wristbands and cheering people on.
Wristbands in the air, please. Just don't care. Wave like you just don't care. They've been through a lot. 8 hours, 7 hours, 6, I don't know.
5 a.m. we started.
But they've dedicated themselves to be here. So if I can inspire them to do the last furlong, I've done my job.
This as the Queen's children, led by King Charles III, held a silent vigil on Friday, somberly watching over their mother's coffin. Meanwhile, preparations are underway for the Queen's funeral, guards rehearsing under the cover of darkness as law enforcement gears up for what some are calling the biggest security operation London has ever faced.
And tonight it'll be the Queen's grandchildren who will honor her by standing vigil beside her coffin. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, London.
And back here at home, the annual Tour de Corgi in Fort Collins is honoring Queen Elizabeth this year. It will have a Best Queen Elizabeth and Corgis category. The Queen loved her corgis and had dozens throughout her life, including 2 at the time of her death. Tour de Corgi is an annual corgi meetup, costume contest, and parade through Old Town Fort Collins. This year's event is Saturday, October 1st. Boredom Busters for expecting mothers, the brainchild of this week's Denver 7 Everyday Hero, giving pregnant women who often fly under the radar the support they need in a way we might not always realize. Next.